Flat Earth Debate live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe. Hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a Coffee, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and X. Now we are joined by... Who are we joined by? Essential Goat, Jardo, Neil, and a whole bunch of people in the Flat Earth Debate Discord server. So, welcome one and all.
Good morning.
Yo.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. It's good to be here. Had the entire week off in total agony. Now it's Bank Holiday Monday. Fortunate enough to have visited a pharmacy before the weekend. Got myself some super duper strong painkillers. So I'll be resuming as long as I can tolerate the pain of having whatever I've got, gallstones, so I'm told. Apparently I've got to have an organ removed called a gallbladder. Not that I knew what that was until about 2 or 3 days ago, but now I know. So there we go. I mean, lots of pain. I'm sure the people who hate me will like that quite a lot. But as the title of the show suggests, this subject's not about me, right? And I'm going to give credit to Brian, who says this regularly, which is that our opponents, when talking about anti-flat earthers, often make the discussion about the individual. They'll personalise it. They'll make it about you, what you say, how you say it, who you are, what you do, what your education status is. You get the general gist. The ad hominem fallacy, at the man rather than at the argument. But that's become more obvious to me recently. That is to say, to a certain extent, for the first maybe 5 years of this subject, I had a good belief, a very strong belief in an Earth that's flat. In the last 5 years, the 5 years following that, I know it's flat. That's how it's being measured in all instances, without any examples that you can demonstrate that are the contrary of that fact. Ergo, Earth is, and always was, measured flat by everyone always. Except me. I've never really measured Earth in any professional capacity. I'm not a cartographer. I'm not a navigator. I'm not building anything or sailing anywhere or charting anything or mapping anything. So why would I need to measure Earth? It's not about me. It's about Earth. And in terms of the arbiter of what Earth is, it's dictated by how we measure it. And we measure Earth flat. So as time progresses, people who have attempted in the past to make this about me are going to fail. The more that people wake up and realise the awful truth that it was always flat. That's how it's dealt with in any professional capacity whatsoever. That's it. It's not about me.
Interesting. But it's always been character assassination.
Of course. I mean, me pointing out that I would prefer people don't pour scorn on the Earth being measured flat in avionics instrumentation that is used to determine why people may have died when they crashed into the flat surface as measured by blackbox data. But of course I hear on the grapevine that Simon is feigning outrage at my use of the pitch data to push a conspiracy. That's how it was phrased to me. I've not actually watched Simon Dan's video. Again, it's not about me. It's about how Earth is measured. Now, we get given examples of mechanisms that are used to correct avionics for their useful attributes, in this case, gyroscopes, and their useful attribute being fixed in free space to maintain level, which is what they do, how it's measured, and what the instruments are trying to achieve in all respects without any exceptions. Now, the exceptions come in the people who suggest that things like pendulous vanes are correcting for Earth curvature, those people are liars, because they're not. What we are doing is maintaining level flight when you fly a plane. Now, not me. I've never flown a plane. I'm not going to claim to. But when planes are flown over the flat surface they measure a flat surface. That flat surface is dealt with as flat when deaths are investigated. And me pointing it out has nothing to do with the facts in this matter. That's Earth being measured flat. Same goes for any other subject. If I talk about how Earth is built on flat, I'm not building anything. I mean, I designed a house once for my folks, a guest house that did actually get to the blueprint stage and did actually get built based on the design I made. But that's not me physically putting bricks into the ground. I was around while the builders were building it. But that isn't beyond the flat level surface that was built on any professional capacity that I did any measurements. The flat piece of paper that the layout was made by me in a very crude way doesn't count. But in terms of what actually got done, the work was done on a flat Earth. In terms of the work put in by pilots, they're flying across a surface level that is measured flat. It's nothing to do with me. Now, there's people out there that want to make it about me, in spite of my best efforts to say, regardless of anybody who wants to attempt to defy these flat Earth measurements, they'll still be aviating, navigating, and measuring the world flat, regardless of what you say about me and what I'm utilising it for. If you believe the Earth is a sphere, and you believe that me suggesting the measurements of a flat Earth are me pushing a conspiracy, I'm not. Earth's just measured flat, whether anybody likes it or not. It's measured flat by everyone. And an example, as it's Simon Dan that's feigning outrage, of the everyone always measures Earth flat would be Dan. Now, I'd like to congratulate the 1,000+ participants that took flat Earth elevation angles at Dan's request. Welcome to Flat Earth one and all. You all measured the surface level as part of your angle measurement. You have two choices: deny that you measured Earth's surface flat for the angle to the sun, or get on your knees in acknowledgement of the flat Earth that you required it to be to measure it. And measure it you all did. That's Simon Dan's 1,000+ participants, where he alleged to utilise these flat Earth elevation angle measurements taken from a surface level to infer we have sphericity. And as I've been pointing out for quite some time, it's not about me, it's not about Dan, it's about how Earth gets measured, in this case with surface level angle measurements. Earth will always be measured flat. It always was. This suggestion that it proved sphericity measurements is, according to the globe Earth rhetoric, several thousand years old and was measuring Earth flat then too. They were the same flat Earth elevation angles from surface level. They always were and always will be measuring Earth flat, regardless of how much disdain you want to project onto me. And that's all this really boils down to, it's projection. The idiocy that you feel when you come across this information gets projected onto the messenger, in this case me. You are stupid. You did not recognise how flat Earth was being measured. And in your stupidity, you leave me messages like you don't understand how big Earth is, as a rebuttal that acknowledges Earth is being measured flat. Because it is. It doesn't require any acknowledgement. It doesn't require you agree or disagree with me. Earth will still be measured flat, regardless of what I or you believe or say about it. Dan is just one in a many long list of examples to follow, where you challenge these facts I spew, only to go out and measure Earth flat thousands of times, and then pour scorn on a suggestion that I'm utilising flat Earth measurements from black boxes to push a conspiracy. There's no conspiracy. Earth is measured flat. By everyone, always. It's not a conspiracy. Now, if you can't figure out what the conspiracy is, that's your fault. Your stupidity. Try not to project that fear, ignorance, and stupidity onto me. It's got nothing to do with me. Earth will always be measured flat.
Well, you're the only one talking about measurements, so who else are they going to put it on?
Put it on the people who measure it, or go out and measure it like Dan did. You want to prove me wrong? Go out and measure 1,000 elevation angles from a flat Earth like Dan did.
Yeah, true, because we never came after them and assassinated their character when they talked about how Al Baruni measured the circumference of the Earth, right?
Yeah, I'm taking Dan's measurements and pointing out that Simon Dan requires Earth to be measured flat for every single one of the 1,000 alleged proofs of a sphere that he measured a flat Earth with. So what's Dan doing currently? Feigning outrage. At what black box measurements show? Well, I measure Earth flat too, Dan. Don't have to like it. But what's that? You want to feign outrage. Okay, good for you. Will that change what's measured in the black box data? No. Earth will always be measured flat in black box data when they investigate people's death. These are facts. Don't have to like them. It's got nothing to do with me. I didn't measure Earth flat for the black box data and its flat Earth measurements. They just are what they are. Measurements of parallel flight with respect to a surface level, sea level, which is also measured across the entirety of the level surface of Earth for the average sea level to fly parallel with respect to it and measure it in black box data. Now, you can suggest that this is me pushing a conspiracy theory. It's not. It's me pointing out bleeding measurements that are used to investigate death. These are the facts. You don't have to like them. But why is Dan doing this? Why is he feigning outrage? Well, because Dan's pissed that I've pointed out he's just measured Earth flat thousands of times, with his audience backing him with every single surface level angle measurement he took to the sun. That's why Dan's got to now feign outrage, make people think that I'm somehow a bad person. Because I'm pointing out that Simon Dan measured Earth flat, didn't he? With thousands of participants helping him take surface level measurements for angles. What's that? You don't like that they're surface level measurements for angles? You don't want them to be a surface level? Well, then they're not a measurement of Earth anymore, are they? Oh, you do like them being a measurement of Earth? Well, then they're surface level elevation angles that you've measured 1,000 times off a flat Earth. What's that? You don't like Nathan pushing a conspiracy? I'm not. Earth's measured flat in back box data. It's just a fact.
Well, they have to make it a conspiracy, but he'll just turn around and say, yeah, we measure it flat locally.
Yeah, he did. That's another reason Dan needs to feign outrage, because I'm utilising flat Earth measurements like he did. Dan also understands implicitly that Earth is measured flat, surveyed flat, and he apologises for just how flat Earth gets measured by suggesting that that's just locally measured flat. Like a mere 50 kilometres of measuring Earth flat is fine. We can call them approximations. Dan knows Earth's measured flat. Now he's feigning outrage at my use of NTSB flat Earth measurements because he doesn't want to highlight his own flat Earth usage when he describes how flat surveyors measure Earth. Locally flat? Yeah, we measure Earth flat. We aviate flat. The cartographers are measuring with sea level. It will never change. These are axiomatically linked to every measurement of Earth ever, including but not limited to Dan's 1,000 flat Earth sun angle measurements. Yeah? These are facts. They'll never change. Just try not to make it about me. I've had to say this to trolls in emails. Try not to make it about me, Dan. Yeah? You and your flat Earth measurements. That's what it's about, Dan. Not Nathan. Not Dan. The measurements your 1,000 participants made of Earth's surface. Flat. That's what it's about. So stop making it about me, eh? Let's make it about the Earth measurements you measured Earth flat with, Man, Dan. Try not to make it about me.
Well, it may never register because they're woefully not receiving it. There's a lot of pride going on here. They can't see that Earth is flat.
A lot of what? Crime?
Pride.
Oh, pride.
Too proudful. I mean, come on. He has to comprehend it by now. This is not hard.
This is the thing. I don't care if Dan comprehends it. I'm only being forced to care as he projects his ignorance and fear onto me. That's what he's doing. I don't need to care about whether Dan comprehends the fact we measure Earth flat. He damn well knows about it when I point out his own use of a flat Earth for angle measurements to the sun. That's him measuring Earth flat 1,000 times, isn't it? But it makes no difference. It doesn't matter if Dan comprehends this. Will it alter how we survey Earth? Dan's just referencing the surveyor's locally flat measurements of an Earth at surface level. Yeah, that's Dan's reference to men who do work. And the work is done on a flat Earth. Who cares what I have to say about it? Likewise, who cares what Dan has to say about it? Who cares if Dan finally comprehends that Earth is measured flat when he apologises for that fact by saying it's a really big ball? Does it matter that Dan can't comprehend how flat Earth must be for us to measure it that way, locally or otherwise? No. It doesn't matter. Dan's an insignificant single man, just one dude. Does it matter that he comprehends how Earth is measured? Well, he does comprehend it, doesn't he? He understands how flat it is. Calls it an approximation. Doesn't alter how Earth was being measured before Dan came along. Dan's comprehension is insignificant to these facts. Earth is measured flat. Dan found out the hard way 1,000 times when he measured it, didn't he? Does it alter his belief in a ball after measuring Earth flat 1,000 times? Who cares if he still believes it's a ball, but it's okay to measure it locally flat? He's entitled to his belief. It's inconsequential to how Earth gets measured. It's measured flat. These are the facts. You don't have to like them.
Yeah, they're still struggling with the circumference of a circle on the surface of the Earth. It will never be a sphere if you're measuring on the surface of the Earth.
Absolutely.
Talking about areas of equal elevation, circles of equal altitude, GPs. Yeah. Again, navigators and cartography do not give a toss if you, a thicko, that's you, I'm talking directly to you, my audience, the idiots that think it matters whether or not Nathan Oakley says it's flat. You're an idiot. Earth will still be dealt with flat, regardless of whether or not you feel you telling me I'm wrong is heard by me or a million other people like me. The work that gets done at the surface level will still be done on a flat Earth, regardless of our discussion in this matter. The game was to make it seem like what we had to say in discussion about it was important and then segregate us from the rest of the society, especially the ones doing work on Earth's surface, because they're all measuring Earth flat, regardless of what us, a bunch of idiots on the internet, feel is important when we argue about this nonsense. Earth will still be measured flat regardless of what we think about this. GPs will still be circles at the centre of circles that are flat.
Fisherman in the box is in the house. How you doing, fisherman?
All is well, my friends. All is well.
Oh, it's a pleasure to have you. You were here the other day and I did spot you. It's just some people come and they don't necessarily want to say hello. Neil's a big fan. I'm a big fan. Subscribe to Fisherman in a Box if you haven't done so already. Can you give us a little plug for your channel? What do you do?
Well, first of all, thank you, and I should be the one thanking you and your talented panel. I've been a student here for years, and I followed along with the journeys and the arguments and the debates that aren't even debates, and it's just a time for celebration right now. My channel is Fisherman in a Box, and when I go live, it's I call it the Critical Christian Crowd. We take a look at all these truths from a biblical perspective or a Christian perspective, and these two are aligning perfectly, matched equally, and that what the Bible says and how we measure the earth are identical. So kudos to you, kudos to your panel, and thank you for the opportunity. and I'm driving, so I'm multitasking. But thank you very much, and God bless you, and I hope you heal quickly, Nathan.
Thank you very much. Check it out. Driving along, you've got a crystal clear signal. I love it. Whatever your audio setup is, it's marvellous in that car.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I'm impressed. So yeah, as I say, as much as it seems bizarre for a YouTuber to say it's not about me, it isn't. Now it is, obviously. I'm only live because I'm poor and I've got to keep going to keep the lights on. So it is about me. I'm a YouTuber. I do this for a living. But in terms of the discussion, it's got nothing to do with me. Professionally, I'm not measuring Earth. Yeah? None of us are. It's inconsequential. I've described this as us being in a pond together, like me and Simon Dan together in a pond, as is today's example. We are. We're in a pond segregated from everybody else, so we can argue the toss about whether or not it's important to understand how Earth gets measured. Now, some people, like Dan, will understand it gets measured flat, but say it's only because it's really big. Like locally, it's okay, we can measure Earth flat, and still believe in it being a really big ball with measurements we don't measure. You can do that. Me, I can say it's really important that we all understand how the Western world belief of being on a big ball, as taught to us for the last 300 or 400 years by the church, isn't true, because look, we're measuring Earth flat. That's inconsequential too. Me pointing out how Earth gets measured is pretty much inconsequential, because it'll still be measured flat if I die tomorrow, won't it? Will it make any difference what I said for the last 10 years to how Earth was always being measured anyway? No. There's just a little game where anybody who realises that fact and ties it to the fact that your school taught you were on a ball, then that's a problem for the people who would prefer that you had some semblance of control exercised upon you by this belief that was passed on from the church to your school. But the two aren't congruent. You can't be on a ball and measure the surface flat. But when we measure the surface, we prefer that buildings don't fall down and people don't get lost. So we deal with it as is. We fly over it as is. We sail on it as is. We map it and chart it as is. And what's as is? Flat. All the measurements will confirm it regardless of what I say about it. And they won't change. Ever. So this whole rigmarole of arguing about whether or not Earth's flat was pointless. It was, always will be. That's how it's measured. What we had to say about it didn't really matter.
What's nice about realizing this truth is that when you now see the tired old arguments, and when you realize that all you got to do is ask a question, how is that measured? And it ends the debate. There's someone, I don't know, I think even Duffy did it on his final, not debate, showed one map that shows Australia looking pretty peaked and thin, and another map showing Australia looking fat and sassy. And he basically asked, which one is the real Australia in real life, in reality? And it just occurred to me, it's like, well, what's the how many million square miles is Australia?
I don't know, you'll need a flat Earth to measure it in square miles, though.
That's right.
Exactly. Exactly. That ends the question. Doesn't matter what the shape is. How many square miles is that, Duffy?
Flat. The answer's flat.
How many do they say it is?
Well,
Yeah.
the answer's flat, isn't it? How many square miles? The answer in the debate is flat. That's the actual answer, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not a shape. It's not which one is, it's not which one's shape. It's just how is it measured? Oh, well, it's measured flat. How many square miles is it? Okay, we're done.
Yeah, exactly. But keeping the debate alive entails having both sides recognise that we must measure Earth flat and then debate about whether or not it's flat or ball-shaped after measuring it flat, utilising flat descriptions, flat distances, flat heights, flat everything. Earth's dealt with as a flat plane. So obviously it's going to be incorporated into their ball belief. Now we've got down to the nitty-gritty of, well, like you just said, well, how's that measured? Let's talk about whether or not gyros drift. Yeah, tables have turned, you bunch of bull-believing clowns. You idiots now think gyros drift. Like Bob Nodell, you will now have to defy the axiomatic principle of gyroscopic motion to push your belief in a ball. Meanwhile, avionics are utilising gyroscopic motion to remain in level flight. These are the measurements. What's that? No, they self-correct, said people, because reasons. Have you got a measurement of that? What's that? Nathan's using pitch data to push a... No. Listen up. Have you got a measurement of the drift? So we can see it being corrected, like raw data that shows a ball underneath the gyro. You don't have that. We have just got the raw data from the black box of a flat earth and flight level. Yeah, we already knew it was already being measured flat. It makes no difference what you dickheads lie about when it comes to pendulous vanes and gyroscopic motion. These things are well known, and they're used on a flat earth. Axiomatically and principally, that's what they're useful for. Now, you idiots can deny this and suggest otherwise with words and reasons. But we've got the measurements. What are you going to do? Say, nah, this gyro's corrected by these pendulous vanes. Really? Show me in the measurements. Oh, there isn't any. Just the surface level, sea level, flight level. Yeah, we know. Can't be anything other than flat, or none of the measurements make any sense, do they? What's that? But words say that there's a correction that we're not seeing. No, we just need to see a load of measurements for that. What we're going to get? We're going to get Nathan Oakley's a bad man. People died and Nathan Oakley's talking about flat Earth. Yeah, people died and they measured Earth flat when they investigated it. These are the measurements that I'm referring to. What's that? You don't like that people died on planes? They do. The NTSB investigate those deaths and the surface level is what they measure in the black box data to see whether or not the plane hit it. The surface level, measured for level flight off it. Now, nothing I have said is in any way controversial. It's facts. It's only controversial when you dickheads say that it's been corrected. Like there's other data that isn't this raw data that's got balls being measured that the gyros have to correct themselves for. You lying bastards. You are the ones pouring score on the actual facts in the data we measure Earth with. And we do measure Earth with sea level, surface level, parallel flight level. These are facts. As I keep pointing out, you don't have to like these facts. Facts they are. It's not about whether or not Dan understands these facts. It's not about whether Dave McKeegan says gyro self-correct and shows a mechanical gyro being corrected when it drifts out of alignment. You need to show measurements of it drifting out of alignment in line with a ball Earth that's been created mathematically from flat Earth measurements in the first instance. If you want to maintain your ball faith. But who cares? Does it matter if you maintain your ball faith? No, the pitch data will still show axiomatically how flat Earth must be to acquire these measurements that deaths are investigated with. It doesn't matter if you comprehend it. It doesn't matter if you say Nathan's using flat Earth measurements to push a conspiracy of a flat Earth that's being measured. That makes no bleeding sense. What are you going to do? Saying Nathan's pushing a conspiracy of a flat Earth being measured when he points out that Dan measures Earth flat with elevation angles? Yeah? No, better to talk about NTSB. Because then maybe you can make it seem that it's about me and what I talk about, when the data's never going to change. The black box is always going to have the same sea level measurements, altitude off surface level, parallel flight level. None of these axiomatic flat Earth principles can be defied. All you can do is lie about what you say gyros do, as you suggest. They don't remain rigid in space. They do. That's what they're being used for. We arguing about it is inconsequential to the actual facts in this matter. Doesn't matter if Dan argues with me. Doesn't matter if he tells his audience I'm a bad man because I'm using people's deaths. I'm not. saying how NTSB data gets presented to the public is factually flat. It can't be anything other than flat. It's sea level, surface level, flight level. All of these things are tied axiomatically to a flat Earth that's being measured. It's in the measurements. But for you saying that they're corrected, well, then you're saying the NTSB, you, not me, are saying the NTSB aren't using raw data. Because you say the gyros are being corrected. By what? Show me the measurements. So we can carry on arguing about it in this pond, separated from the rest of the society that's already measuring Earth flat. They're already maintaining flight level above surface level, regardless of whether or not we argue about it. So who cares? What Dan thinks about it makes absolutely no difference.
So what they say is that the measurements for the correction, they vanish. And if anything, they're disrespecting what the NTSB puts forward, not us. We're just stating facts.
Yeah,
they're
we're
the ones
pointing them out.
disrespecting the loved ones that died.
I don't care. Yeah? You want to say I'm disrespectful to the... I've investigated any. I haven't lost any loved ones on flights. What we've got is the data of a flat Earth that's measured. Go and get black box data from a plane that hasn't crashed. Oh, you haven't got any. They're only interested when they collide with the surface level that they were maintaining flight level above until something went wrong. Yeah, that's correct. Pretty important how surface level gets measured when dealing with death. Now, you don't have to like it. You can make it about Nathan Oakley if you want. But the facts won't change. Earth's still measured flat. You're never going to show any measurements that are anything other than a flat Earth. Who cares what you say I'm doing with this data? The data is what it is. The measurements are what they are. Your ball that you're making this about Nathan Oakley to create in your mind was also built with these flat Earth measurements from surface level. Dan just gone and shown 1,000 people who measured them for him how Earth will be and can only be measured flat. So you know how these measurements are used to create a ball, the flat ones that we measure Earth with. You all know it. But because you need to project your ignorance somewhere other than internally, you find a scapegoat. Seeming scapegoat in me. What you get back? You get called a moron. That's what you get. I'm calling Dan idiotic. He knows it's measured flat. He's apologised for it. Called it local only, like it matters. Does that change how the surveyors measure Earth? Flat? No. They still measure Earth flat. Oh, just Dan conceding that it's okay to measure it flat, but it's still a really big ball? Nod, nod, nod. Does that make any difference to how flat the surveyors are still measuring Earth after he says it's still a ball? No, they still measure it flat, don't they? Did any of the discussion between me and Dan in regards to him conceding that Earth's measured flat at surface level for 50 kilometres, but it's okay, change how Earth got measured prior, during, or after the discussion took place? No. The work that's getting done's being done on a flat Earth. So, anybody who pointed that out needs to be chucked in a pond together so they can argue the toss about it. I can say it's being measured flat, so it's flat. Dan can say it's being measured flat because it's a ball. Yeah, in this pond. It's still being measured flat by the people who don't care, that we're kept separate from. Whether or not Dan recognises his own stupidity at the end of this process is irrelevant. Flights will still maintain flight level, parallel with the measured height of sea level. Always. It's never going to change. Now, when things go wrong, they check whether or not he crashed into the flat Earth or maintain level flight. Obviously, if they do, there's nothing to investigate, is there? But these facts, and me pointing them out, doesn't make it about me. But you want to. Because what's the awful alternative? Well, introspection. You'd have to look internally and realise how stupid you've been this entire time. Now, Dan's starting to feel that sting at the moment. Because I'm pointing out that Dan's got 1,000 people to measure Earth flat, just like I said it was and will always be measured. He went and confirmed it. That's why he's talking about me and feigning, if I could say it. Great word, by the way. I think it was sensual goat. Are you there? You came up with the feigning.
Yeah, I got that from you.
You got feigning from me?
Yeah, feigning outrage over the anti-flat earthers in the review videos.
Okay, well, it's the perfect use of the term. So feigning is a medical term. If you aren't sick. So I had a discussion with this about my mate literally only earlier today. So I'm telling him, like you do when you're ill, I've got this wrong with me. Oh, right, well, what's happened to you? And blah, blah, blah. And I explained to him that when junkies go to doctors, they'll try and get pain medication. Now, I've got no interest in pain medication. I'm not a junkie, and it wouldn't occur to me that you can get high. And that's all pain medication is, right? It's drugs, right? So they get you high. No, they don't. They take away pain. That's their point. But when you're in a huge amount of pain and you're in front of your doctor, right, you say, give me painkillers, the strongest ones available. And you look them in the eye while he's saying it with tears streaming down your eyes. And they go, yeah, I'm pretty sure you're in a lot of pain. They believe you. Now, what I mean by believe you is it's obvious and apparent you're in need of pain relief. Now, when a junkie comes in and goes, yeah, my leg, it really hurts. I've been getting up and it hurts in the morning when it... Yeah, they know that you're feigning being in pain. So that's what feigning means. It basically means, in a medical sense, lying about an illness. Yeah? Well, in this instance, obviously, contextually, it changed from being medical. It's not correct in that context. But the outrage about death, which is what Dan is feigning with respect to me. Again, I've got this from you. I got a précis of what Dan was saying. I've not watched his video. You know, you've given me in a one-word summary by a précis. You gave me one sentence. What's in this video Dan's doing? I'm too ill to watch. He's feigning outrage at your use of the NTSB pitch data that measures Earth flat. Good
That's
word.
funny.
Shout out to Kelrick. Welcome back, FED. Earth is flat. Sorry, Globers. Did I get my chats together? I don't know if I've got this sorted, I'm afraid, Kelrick. Let's just see if I can sort it out on the fly. Oh, no. There it is. Yay. Am I in time? Yes, I am. Thank you very much indeed for the super chat. Really appreciate the support. That's partly why I'm actually live, as much as I'm in a shed ton of pain. I do actually need to e-beg for the super chats and encourage people to give me PayPals and stuff. Because while I'm off the air, it's obviously financially detrimental to me to be sick. So yeah, I mean, if anyone does want to help me out on PayPal or Patreon or whatever, now's the time to do it. That's all the
Spend the money.
Now that's enough e-begging for one show. But yeah, I am pretty poor.
Nathan, I gotta laugh.
They're
because
appealing to the same guy for cold.
For cold?
Not with the pendulum, but yeah, for cold with the gyroscope. And the failure with the gyroscope, the same as the pendulum, to prove Earth's rotation. Yeah, Foucault is the guy that in the 1800s came with the gyroscope to prove rotation of the Earth, which he failed.
I like Foucault's failure because it's a useful example that demonstrates their claim on the bull side of rotation underneath as a second reference frame. To allege that you have a Coriolis effect on a globe Earth that's turning, you need two reference frames. Do you hear that, Dan? You complete idiot. Two reference frames, yeah? Not you and your reference frame are needed to claim Earth's turning. You need two of them, you bonehead. Yeah? You and your reference frames are ruined. Yeah, so's your globe Earth that's turning claim, idiot. That's Simon Dan, who, after suggesting he doesn't debate people, it debated me on Twitter by telling me that the reference frames you use to suggest you've got two of them on a turning Earth are ruined. What an idiot. Anyway, enough about Dan. It's a very Dan-heavy episode. Dan's a big fan of Nathan Oakley. He's made several videos in a row about Nathan Oakley. He's a big fan of mine. Anyway.
Hey, Dan.
Hey, Dan. Shout out to you. Big fan of Nathan Oakley, aren't you, Dan? You like watching, right? Meanwhile, I'm going to now detail how the globe Earth, that's your dickhead claim, Dan, works with two reference frames, and how that means Earth would be turning underneath the inertial frame of reference as a non-inertial turning reference frame. You understand, Dan? Are you learning, you utter clown, how Coriolis' claim to prove Earth's turning? with 2 reference frames. That's why telling me they're ruined makes you a moron. Okay, moron man, Dan? Yeah? The globe is claimed to be turning underneath helicopters, aeroplanes, pendulums, gyroscopes, right? For Cult's gyro? Earth turns underneath it, right? Yeah, then it's turning underneath planes and helicopters and hot air balloons, and we'd frickin' notice. If we had 2 reference frames. Me pointing that out will lead an idiot called Simon to tell me that, well, your reference frames are ruined. What, mine that I'm using to tell you how your globe Earth claims to have 2 of them? But we'd have a Earth turning underneath hot air balloon scenario that doesn't happen? Therefore my reference frames are ruined, are they, Dan the dickhead? No. Globe Earth claims 2 of them, we'd just frickin' notice if Earth was turning underneath aeroplanes. As an example, really bad cotton mouth.
That's what the painkillers will do. Give you dry mouth.
Yeah, they have. It's given me really bad dry mouth. Anyway, as an example, if Earth was turning underneath aeroplanes, a flight from Charlotte, North Carolina to Los Angeles would only take an hour and a half because you'd have a second non-inertial turning reference frame turning beneath the plane. For you to look up at the plane and go, oh, look, it looks like it's curving. That'd be Coriolis effect. You observing something travelling in a straight line looking like it's curving because, you're listening, Dan, you are claimed to turn underneath as part of a second reference frame. You and your reference frames are ruined, right, Dan? Yes, because we don't have 2 reference frames on an Earth that's turning. We'd notice. We'd be turning underneath frickin' aeroplanes, Dan. Me pointing out that we're not noticing any drift, there is no Coriolis, just means you don't have a proof that Earth's turning. Doesn't mean I've got a claim that involves reference frames, Dan. I hope you've taken notes, you complete bonehead. So yeah, Coriolis effect, let's go through it. Coriolis effect is fairly easy to understand with an example. You sat on a roundabout. A person not on the roundabout throwing a ball to another person. Back and forth, they throw the ball in a straight line. You on the roundabout, turning underneath, look up and see the ball appear to curve. That is called the Coriolis of force, a pseudo force. Why a pseudo force? Because it's not really curving. It just appears to be curving as you turn underneath. Translation to a globe Earth. The globe Earth turns underneath a plane flying straight. That's the claim. Now, we'd notice it doesn't happen. There is no drift. There is no Coriolis effect. It's just alleged that it occurs. Underneath gyros, like gyro spins, Earth spins underneath, therefore causing drift, right? No, it doesn't occur. It wouldn't be a very useful tool if it did. Same goes for pendulums. Pendulum's got a useful property about it. It spins straight. Swings straight. That's what a pendulum does. Oh, right, it's not going straight. It's knocking over the dominoes. Well, then it's not a pendulum. Oh, it's just you don't understand, Nathan. Earth turns underneath the pendulum, does it? I see. So Earth's a second frame of reference, then. Turning underneath, then. Meaning we'd see a plane seem to curve because we're turning underneath it, then. Oh, we'd notice, and it doesn't happen. Yeah, Earth's not turning underneath anything. But again, me pointing out that Earth's not turning underneath anything, no second reference frame, leads idiots who feign outrage, that's Simon Dan, to say, quote, you and your reference frames have been ruined. End quote. Simon the stuttering retard. Meanwhile, Earth claims to have 2 of them. We'd notice if it was the case. Earth isn't moving. Frames of reference are flat. Just round out this point. To make this example with Earth full stop, it will be flat, turning or otherwise. These are flat frames of reference. So as always, to describe this mathematical nonsense of an Earth that's turning, for you idiots to tell me my reference frames are ruined, oh my God, you need a flat Earth to describe it mathematically. So we're not unclear. As I've already pointed out, Earth will always be measured flat. There are no exceptions. Describing a claimed alleged Coriolis force will also require a mathematical description of a flat Earth. That's how Earth gets measured. Even in the bullshit examples that don't have us turning underneath aeroplanes. Been a full-on show. My PayPal link's down below if people take pity on me. You probably won't get another show today, I'll be honest. Another show today, another show this week. This will probably be it. I'll probably get this out of me and then I'll just go back to moaning and screaming in pain, which I am now, which is fun. Anyway, we'll do the last 10 minutes. I will suffer the pain of it for the last 10 minutes of the show.
I got a guy here saying that level is not flat and he can prove Earth is a globe. Well, then join and tell us how.
I mean, that's paying lip service to what the show's title is. I mean, I don't care. You will measure Earth flat in your claim. Suggesting that level isn't level is a defiance of the axiomatic principle. So I don't care anymore when people tell me that. It's just like, whatever. You want to believe something that defies axiomatic measurements of Earth, then fine, you can believe that. It won't alter what the actual measurements are. Now, you can say surface level's not level. Really? Well, how do you have parallel flight level then? Get out of that one. You won't need to, because I don't care about you getting out of anything. It makes no difference to the flight level that's being utilised and measured. Parallel with the surface level. Sea level will still be level. Heights off it will still be perpendicular to it. These are axiomatic Earth measuring principles that make no difference whether this dick, talking to Neil currently, believes or understands. It makes no difference. The axiomatic principles of Earth measurements will never change. This dickhead's opinion on the matter is irrelevant.
Paula says your pain will be gone after the gallbladder is removed. So get busy.
So will my ability to digest fat, which is also lovely.
Yeah, I was looking into that.
I'm going to be one of those people going, has it got fat in it? I've got to be on a low-fat diet. I hate those people. I hate you. I'm going to be one of you, and I hate you.
Oh, you got to start reading all the labels. Oh, boy.
I did that as a fat kid. I did that when I was about, I don't know, 15 or 16. I was really fat. So there's people talking about it now, I notice, when I scroll through, doom scrolling on this shorts. Somebody even did a study on it, and I can completely attest to this, right? This is completely off topic. This guy in a university said, if you eat less than your calorific intake requires, you will lose weight. And it absolutely, without question, does not matter what you eat. So long as that number is less than the amount of calories you need, then you will lose weight. Now, I've done that. Yeah, you can survive on about 1,000 calories, to do nothing, to lie down and not blink for 24 hours, just to physically be in existence. You need about 800 calories, maybe 1,000, depends how big you are. But just to do absolutely nothing. Therefore, in principle, when I first heard that, I'm like, okay, if I do anything then, and I've only consumed 1,000 calories, I'll be burning off part of my body to do so. And the answer is yes, absolutely, without question. If you are only consuming, don't try and consume less than 1,000, because your body goes into starvation mode and it's trying to conserve every little bit of fat, and then metabolic rates get messed up. And I don't want to get into this, very boring, but the point is you need to keep your metabolism relatively high and keep consuming food little and often. But if you consume 1,000 calories of chocolate bars throughout the day, that's your calorific intake, it's just Snickers bars, then you'll still lose weight. If all you ate was Snickers bars, so long as you ate only 1,000 calories of them, which is about 3. So if you had one Snickers bar for breakfast, lunch and tea, and that was it for your entire consumption of food that day, See if I'm right. It's about 35 years since I dieted, maybe a bit less, 30 years, sorry. And I reckon a Snickers is about 380, 370 calories. See if I'm right. Someone will look it up. And just to prove I'm not looking it up on the fly, this is literally just, I remember counting calories. And that's what you do. You go on the back, KCAL, kilocalories, look how many it is in a number form. A Mars bar's probably 300, 350 calories. A bag of crisps is 190, 200, depending on the crisps. Much more if they're ruffled. And things like that. You just learn how many calories. And then I just don't want to be that person again. I never looked at how much fat. I couldn't care less. I just like, how many calories have I got left over today? I've had 500. I'll eat whatever I want for the last 500. If I want a Snickers bar because I'm hungry for a Snickers bar, I'll have that. But then you've only got 200 calories left, so you're only having 2 dry bits of bread.
So someone in chat says milk thistle and dandelion root fix my gallbladder.
Okay.
What is milk thistle?
I have no idea. It sounds like a plant. So I'm guessing
Phistle and dandelion root.
Oh, it's one of those fancy cakes.
Dandelion root.
Dandelion and burdock.
I know what dandelion and burdock is. That's a drink that we used to have as kids. We still do, actually. We give it to our kids. Well, one of them. Clover likes it.
Sorry, Neil. Go ahead.
Nah, I just said dandelion. That don't sound too appetizing.
We make bread out of dandelions. And no, I'm thinking of nettles. No, I'm wrong. It's nettles I'm thinking of. You do all sorts with nettles.
If it's milk, did you say milk thistle? Would that be like milkweed?
Let's not have this conversation with none of us medically trained or qualified in any way, shape, or form. Let's just give that to.
No, we're talking about food. You can make all kinds of stuff out of dandelions. All of the dandelion.
Oh yeah, that's perfectly fine. Oh, sorry, yes, but just before we even get close to it, yes, people can eat the edible food that's available in droves for free as much as they like. You just have to know how to process it. Same with nettles.
I never looked at a dandelion and said, "I'm hungry. Let me eat that."
Yeah. Anyway, if I do have to have my gallbladder removed, it'll mean that I'll have to be on a low-fat diet from now until I die, which is miserable. But there we go. Such is life.
I'd check your fats too. The different kind of fats, the polyunsaturated, and the difference between the fat that's in beef tallow versus the fat that's basically in all processed foods. I think your body needs to only have real fats.
Neil, go to your local farm shop and ask for a bag of wildflowers and then put them on a sandwich, mate, and it's full of wild flavours, different flavours, full of nutrition. Your body will thank you.
Yeah, okay. Nothing wrong with beef fat.
Okay. I'm glad we did this. It's been emotional.
So what's the verdict here? So you're probably not going to be able to do a show the rest of the week. When are you going to be healed, upright, and ready to roll as usual?
I don't know. I have no idea. Depends how busy the hospital is. But when I got the letter, they said, if you don't hear from us by October, I'm like, by October? Okay.
Oh, I see what's happening.
Yeah. Won't this give you a chance to finish the book?
I don't see any reason why not. When everyone's recovered at this, I don't know, there's a certain amount of stress that might not be indicative of me. I don't know. I haven't thought about it, to be honest. We'll see. The book will get done, right? When people say do the book, I don't think people appreciate that at any point over the last 2 years, all I've had to have said is just publish it how it is, and it would be out tomorrow. It's complete. As we go through the chapters over and over and over again, and they get rewrite after rewrite after rewrite after rewrite, with citations being changed and polished and bits being added and bits being taken away. At any point in the last, 2 years, that book could have just gone out and been published. I could do it tomorrow if I said so, right? But it's not paranoia. It's the refinement that I've been talking about with the book is a necessary evil. That is to say that without it, people will pick apart various little bits in the book that are wrong. Not wrong to a point where it matters to the context of any argument. Just if it's got a subtle inaccuracy, then someone will pick up on it and go, your entire book is wrong because this error. Now, that might be an error in punctuation. That's all it takes. Because our opponents, like this show is titled, want to make it about me. So as they read through and find that, no, where you've got this citation that says Carl Sagan said this, he didn't actually say that, he said that. Who cares? I'm citing your bull priest. The fact that my digging out the citation was dug out from an AI world where they just make up bloody citations and put quotes. Did it matter? Did it change anything about the context? No. But going through it over and over again and having many eyes on it means that the end result will be bulletproof from that perspective. Now, like today's discussion, who cares? All it means is I'm protected individualistically. It's selfish. That's why the book hasn't come out. I don't want to be attacked for some meaningless, unimportant error that someone will look at from the outside and go, that was unnecessary. It didn't need to be riddled with that. Didn't need to be tarnished by that. You should have got that right. And I'll go, yeah, I should have done. Well, fortunately, that process is what's happening now with the people around me being my friends. Now, it doesn't change their tone. In fact, they're a lot more rude about it. Ow. Oh, I shouldn't laugh. But the fact that they're a lot more rude about it in private while we're doing it, and to a certain degree on the members' videos, you can hear this happening when people are extremely rude to me. It's just not much fun. But they're doing it out of the goodness of their heart and time to refine my book. So that when it does finally come out after this multi-stage refinement process that it's been through, it'll be there. Now, if things got so desperate, I would just pull the trigger tomorrow. And I've mitigated for a few months with microphones. That's being wound down. I've almost run out, right? At one point, I was churning with 100 for sale. Now I'm at something like 60 and they're all selling through. They're slowly going. I say 60, I'm lying. Most of it's wire, like stuff that isn't mics. Most of it isn't mics. In fact, no, that's not true. I'm sure there is probably at least 40 or 50 mics. Anyway, it's not the massive number that I had. I've sold 250 microphones in the last 3 months for anybody who cares. A huge number to keep the lights on. And I have kept the lights on, but I'm going to run out of microphones now. I don't want to buy it anymore, and I've kind of told myself not to. I have bought the odd one here and there, because you can't help yourself, or I can't. But that's going to...
Like trying to quit smoking, eh?
Say again? I quit smoking as well.
Like trying to quit smoking.
It's a hell of a time to quit heroin. Anyway, I quit smoking quite a while ago. I don't know if you know that.
No, I didn't know. That's what it sounds like to me. I've had one now and then.
Yeah, I do. Do have one now and then. It's a total lie. And like any smoker, I'm closer to my next cigarette than I am further away from the last. And at the moment, I'm poorly, so I'll smoke. I don't care. Anyway, look, let's not concern ourselves with me and my smoking addiction. Why have you brought that up? Because I was smoking on camera a minute ago. Probably.
I didn't even notice. Let's get back to the book.
Anyway, I forgot. You completely distracted me now. Now I'm thinking about nicotine.
The book starts in September again.
Yeah, the point is I could have pulled the trigger at any point. I could have said, let's just publish it. Publish it now. I don't care. It's fine. And it would have been. Like, literally, anybody who's reading it impartially would have been absolutely fine with any of the renditions that the book's gone through. Any of the drafts would have been fine. And any of the minor punctuation errors could have been corrected on the fly without giving it a complete redraft. That is to say that the online edition would just have the comma changed to a full stop without anybody being notified. You know what I mean? It's not like you've got to re-roll the printing presses in the modern age when you find a minor error in your book. You just make a correction, it's fine. Right? Well, that being the case, any of the previous 3 drafts that were complete could have been released. This one, when it finally gets done, we keep chucking. Where are you at? Chapter 14 makes it sound like we're writing chapter 14. No. It's already been written. We're going through chapter 14. We've been through chapter 8. We went through chapter 2, as opposed to writing it from scratch. Far from it. So yeah, the book could come out tomorrow, and I just don't want to. I'd rather mitigate with microphones and now e-beg a little bit. It's like, no, Adam's been off. He's not there to do the stenography. QE's therefore not going to be interested in going through and reading it out loud and then saying we need to take this out and put this in or whatever. So none of that process is being done currently. But it will start up again. Like I say, could just say, let's just publish it. Fuck it. I'm not going to. So yeah, I'd rather
you've been this long. We've gone through it this long. Just finish it out. We'll resume again in September.
Well, I've not spent 6 months e-begging to get the book refined, and the book's there as a means to earn me a living as well. It's there for money. I'm not going to lie about its purpose. It's there originally. Its original intention was to earn me money. That's the only reason it was started to be. That was the only reason I started doing it. Anyway, the point being that in the meantime, now it's grown and become a better product. The final refinement process, people will be sympathetic. They've watched that process happen over the last couple of years. And therefore, when I e-beg now, right at the end of the process, it's like, I just need to e-beg a little bit to get us over the final hurdle, and then the book will come out. But if I'd have been e-begging, not that I'm egregiously e-begging right this second, but you know what I mean? If I'd been e-begging for the last, let's say, 6 months instead of doing microphone videos, people would be sick of hearing it. Like me e-begging, that is. They wouldn't want to hear it. Now, people can moan about my microphone videos as much as they like. It's like, well, whether or not you like the microphone videos is irrelevant. I produce them so I can put them on an ad and flog that microphone on eBay to keep the lights on. Now, every time you see in a microphone video instead of a flat earth video with me and my face on it, just appreciate how handsome I am and then move on. Don't moan that I'm making microphone videos. That is a reason to rejoice that I'm not asking you for money. Every time you see a microphone video, think, he's not asking me for money. No, I'm not. But I will be. Especially as I'm poorly. So I've now got to mitigate from a mitigation. And then I'll run out of microphones and I'll be absolutely broke if I'm not making videos in hospital or whatever. I hope they give me my operation quickly.
You feel like answering a question?
Yeah, I don't mind. Like I said at the beginning of the show, I'm on some pretty wild painkillers. I don't know what they're called.
Yeah, look them up. I'll tell you what they are. So, on what version of flat Earth is it possible to match reality where the distance along the equator between two longitudes is greater than at latitude both north and south of the equator?
Every one of the last 5 sections of the question involved flat Earth measurements, equators, distances. It's all flat Earth measuring. He's not asking me a question about how stuff works and then utilising flat Earth measurements. What's the equator? What, the minimum elevation angle measurement to Polaris on a flat Earth? Let's just start there. Your equator's measured flat. Idiot, get lost. Stop coming to me with flat Earth measurements. Have you got your microphone working yet, Brian? Let's see how Brian's clear or not. It would be out on his bleeding phone now.
No.
Sounds pretty clear to me.
I didn't even hear him. Hello, Brian.
Hey, Nathan. I don't have. I'm talking through the phone, and in a minute I'll be talking through a bad speaker, bad headphones.
Called it. No worries. You're obviously.
Sound like you got no teeth.
Hey.
Things aren't that bad. That's a touch wood.
I think Brian sounds as clear as ever right now.
It sounds exactly the same as he always does. I sent Brian a microphone. I've sent several people a microphone, but Brian was one of the people who sent a microphone to. One of the reasons I was flogging microphones, along with just liking microphones and wanting to keep the lights on, was people like Brian, when he's back at his home, who will hopefully, at some point, you'll hear Brian sounding clearer because I've sent him a microphone. Ideally, I'd love to hear him on it at some point. I don't want to pester him, though, obviously. He will when he will.
I'm not in a position to be at the computer. That's the problem. I need to be at the computer because I can't.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Let's move on. I gave you props earlier, so the show is almost titled in your honour. So you make a point of this constantly, right? You'll make an argument, and in order to make the argument, you've got to educate yourself. Let's just get that out of the way. You've got to be disciplined. You've got to be firm. You learn the ins and outs. You present it. And what you get on the video? You get told that you're an idiot. Yeah? You get your personal attack.
Yeah.
You're laughing about it. But, I mean, oh, here we go. My stream deck's starting to go wonky. Hold on a second, Brian. Is there somebody in the Discord server that wanted to say hello? Anybody there? No? No? Okay. Anyway, Brian, yeah, you laugh about it, but I always found it difficult to not take personally, because it is personal, quite literally. But you were always saying, no, I have to make it into a personal attack. And you're like, yeah, let's try and not make this about me, eh? Yeah? It's not about me. Me pointing out Earth's measured flat isn't about me. Brian pointing out how the ball fails miserably isn't about Brian, is it? But they need to make it about you so that they don't have to have any introspection. They don't have to face the awful truth that they didn't realise what you're pointing out. You pointing it out makes them feel stupid, so they project that immediately onto you.
Do you reckon that's how... they just want to say that I'm stupid and don't understand as a comeback no matter what I put out. You know, that's what I'm expecting. When you put out the awful truth, they have two choices, don't they? One of them is to concede. The other one is to say you're stupid.
Yeah, it's pure projection. So saying you don't understand, most of the time it's them assuming there's somebody smart out there that doesn't understand how you're wrong. So they just project that with the fact of the matter in their case. They don't understand how to overcome what you've said. So they tell you that you don't understand the appeal to an imaginary authority that doesn't exist at that moment when they can't overcome what you've said, that they assume must be out there that does understand, that can overcome your argument. So they just project it straight onto you. You don't understand. Yeah, I do. I've just explained it. That's not a rebuttal.
Well, what they want to do mostly is if I take it personal, then it'll bother me and I won't be able to make videos. I enjoy what they do, even though sometimes it is annoying. Most of the time it's not. I enjoy that they are, so hot and bothered. But really what they want to do is to do their best to character assassinate me in the comments. So anyone that comes there will think, wow, all these people are saying he doesn't know what he's talking about. You know, that's really what they want. You know, or that he's a lawyer, or that he's, a murderer, or anything they can put in there. You know what I mean? Just whatever it takes, to make me look bad, and that's what they have to do. But they fail. I don't know about your comment section if they do it this way as much in your comment section, but where they definitely fail in my comment section is anyone can look at any video and the same people keep turning up, and even when it's in a different account, it's the same rhetoric, and you'd have people who are coming back to leave comments. Like someone could leave 2 comments, 3 comments when the video first comes out. Then they're coming back leaving comments 3 days later, 3 weeks later, a month later. You know what I mean? It would be very obvious to someone then. It's like, hang on a minute. This is about this person's 15th comment, and these comments have come in over the course of a month, and they're all new threads, new comments. So all it does, in my opinion, is it makes them look just like desperate idiots. It doesn't character assassinate me like they wanted to. Because if they wanted to do that correctly, they wouldn't be leaving so many comments. But they do. They keep coming back. Either that's what they're paid to do, or that they're so triggered they have to keep coming back and telling me I'm wrong and I'm stupid. And if they're not telling me that, they just want to talk about something other than the video. You know what I mean? It's like, let's address something other than the point of the video. Even if it's something I said within the video that's only slightly connected to the point, they want to jump onto that as opposed to the video and what the actual purpose is. You know, I've gotten to the point many times with them where I ask them to detail what the video is about. You know, and most of the time, you could say 9 out of 10 times they don't do it because they don't want to do it or they can't do it. They haven't watched or haven't listened. They just want to tell me I'm stupid and make people believe I'm stupid. You know, that's what they need to do, I suppose. Do they do the same to you?
Yes and no. I mean, I've only paid attention to it in the last couple of days because I've had the ability to sit in front of my emails with nothing else to do. I'm not have the ability, just I'm not doing other things. So I've sat and read some emails from trolls. Now, they were always there in droves. I just scroll past them through lack of time. But like I say, if you're sat going, oh, you've just got your iPad next to you, you know, there's only so many times you can go through YouTube comments before you go, oh, I'm bored, what shall I do now? Well, I'll go through my email. I've got 50,000 million emails I can look at that'll keep me amused for at least 20 minutes. So then you end up finding a troll email telling you you're wrong, you don't understand. And I'll be honest, I replied to a few of them. And you get the replies back quickly. And you're like, bloody hell, why? Why have you taken your time out of your day to do this, to attack me personally? And I found myself saying the same thing. Let's not make this about me. I can't remember. I'll dig one out. My brain's a bit fuzzy, I've got to be honest. I'm just going to dig one out because I kept on finding that I would say at the start of the email something along the lines of, let's not try and make this about me. Let's stick to the subject. And while I was saying it, I was like, Brian's always saying this, isn't he? He's saying they need to make it into a personal attack.
Yeah, because it is about you. You are.
Here we go. I'll just read the first line of this email. I've just gone to the first one on sent, right? I'll just read my first line to this. So the subject is you ... smh, comma, this isn't about me, ! And then my first line of the email. Okay, seems despite me asking, you need to make this about me and ignore. And then I start talking about measuring, flight level, sea level, blah, blah, blah. Now, in this case, as much as I don't want to say it's not about the measurements, it's about me. About it being not about me is kind of making about me. This reminds me of a Johnny Bravo. Do you remember Johnny Bravo?
Briefly.
Johnny Bravo's a cartoon from the 90s or maybe late 80s. Anyway, cartoon zooms in on him sat at a table having a date and they're talking. She's talking back and forth, but you can't hear what they're saying. And then as the audio fades in, he says, anyway, that's enough about me. Let's stop talking about me. Let's talk about me. What do you think about me? But yeah, it's
you have to. Yeah, go on, sorry.
Well, it's the title of the show is It's Not About Me. And while I'm arguing with these tossers, I'm not going to go through the arguments that I'm having with them about Earth being measured flat and the examples of them ignoring my example of saying, no, it's not just me saying it, but they'll come back at me. You just saying it's flat. No, I've explained with an example that you're ignoring and swearing at me and telling me I need to... Let's not get into it. People are quite vile. You know what I mean? But I'm like responding going, try not to make this about me. Yeah? We've got measurements. Here they are. Don't make it about me. But yeah, like I say, Brian, what you say consistently just resonated with me while I was replying, to the point where the start of each message was starting with, can you not make this about me, please? Especially as I'm feeling quite sorry for myself.
Yeah, because you're not feeling, especially because you're not looking for a hard time because you're not feeling wet, right? But the thing is that it is about you. Like as I said, now I can't speak for other people's channels, but as I said, I've had brand new comments from just interested people on videos that are old. Like some of them, like it doesn't matter how old, they could be several years. And by the time I get to the comment, there's already 4 or 5 trolls in there on that comment. Now, that means these people have to have access to my notifications. They must be getting a notification before me that someone has left a comment on the video. The reason I'm saying that again is not to bring that up again, more so that, as an example, that it is about you, that who these people are, majority of them, their whole purpose is to be about you and you personally, and they're not interested in the arguments. They don't care what argument you're making. They'll do their best to subvert it and make it about you as much as possible. They never stop trying to make me into a liar. They never stop. It's constant with them, and the closest they get to is calling me a coward because I won't give them a direct answer to BS question, right? If some BS question that I won't address properly, I'll ask them a question about their question, and this will go on for 3 days, and then I'm a coward, right? This is the rubbish. But they need something. So if I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a scammer, I have to be a coward. That's the third option, right? But this is what it is about you. You see. That's what they're there for, is to attack you, to character assassinate you. Whether they're like these people, some of them have to be getting paid. They have to be, some of them. You know, now when I say that's stupid to say too, though, because some of these people are crazy, and crazy people do crazy things. But as I said, how could they know that I've just got a comment on a video that's 2 years old? I mean, they're not getting notifications from my video, are they? I go to the reply to the comment. There's already 4 or 5 trolls attacking the person. You know what I mean? It's an infestation. So YouTube stop us getting views, right? With the exception of these people. Do you know what I mean? They build up our views most of the time. So I don't know. It is about us. It is about you. It is about me and whoever else.
Yeah, because hitting
we
close
are
to
the
the
problem.
mark.
Yeah, we're the problem. We're the people pointing out the things that they don't want the public to think about.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You're giving me the yang to my yin. You're saying where the title of the show is, it's not about me. Your response on their behalf is, well, we need to make it about you.
yeah, they need to make it, because if you're pointing out, right, how Earth is measured, or anything to do with the globe, like I often do, where I show where the globe completely fails, they do not want people in the public seeing that. So even the smallest, even though we get very small participation from the public, because the videos don't get advertised by YouTube, the one people that do see them and might see them, they don't want those people going, you know, that makes a lot of sense. I never thought of that. They don't want that happening. Because as soon as someone starts doing that, they say, hey, you know, Tom shows it to Tina, his wife. Hey, Tina, have you seen this? Or his friend. And they don't want that. They want as much as possible for that person to get your video and go to the comments. They don't want that person focusing on what you're saying, on what you might be pointing out. They need, and even if they do, they want people, because people naturally, I always do. I will nearly always look, if I'm interested or invested in watching a video, I nearly will always look at the comments, you know, to see what people are saying. And that's what they want. They want people's opinion to be swayed by what they say in the comments. And, you know, that's their purpose, it seems. I can't say that it's just organic, you know, or it's just purely, it is down to heliocentrism, and it is down to craziness and that, but it's, you know, or organized crazy. You know, that's what it seems to be. But as I said, I can't prove that other than saying that it's very strange that someone who's brand new leaving a brand new comment on an old video, I get there and there's already trolls attacking the person, yet they haven't. How could the trolls know that the person is even there? You know, so there is something definitely organized. Yeah.
What Brian's saying is, unless it's what I would call as a YouTube videographer a primary comment, then there's no notification going off, right? If somebody responds to a comment, then you won't get notified necessarily as the YouTube videographer. And Brian's saying that if that's the case, then how can it be that you, the person I'm talking to, makes a comment, and before Brian's even aware that you've made that comment, trolls have come and responded to the comment? It's like, unless somebody was, let's pretend for a second it's real people, unless they're scouring every comment ever made ever in the response section to see who's responding, how would they know to respond? But yet there they are, before Brian's even aware that he's even got a comment, in the response section, unbeknownst to Brian, discrediting him in the replies to comments.
Yeah, I mean, you have to ask yourself, are these people being paid? Like, they'd have to get the notification. Like, if you're on the clock, right, on whatever job you're doing, and you get the notification that there's a new comment on an old video, right, and of whoever, and it's your job to go there and start attacking the person, and you get and you purposefully you get the notification. You and your friends get the notification half an hour beforehand. That's all they need. You just need to get in there those 10 minutes before you do. So you get a notification then on your channel and say, "Oh, there's a comment and from someone new, and it's something positive." And could you see the first line or so in the notification? Oh, there's someone new, a comment, and I like to make a point of when I see that, going and responding to the person, saying thanks even. But you go in there and there's already trolls. Yeah, the video is 3 years old. So
I think it's worse than that. I think. Have you ever noticed this? Maybe it's just me, and we're talking conspiracy, so why not? Have you ever noticed that there's also the same from the flat Earth side? So you'll get to the same scenario. What's all this back and forth? And there's a flatty there with all the Feast of Nonsense responses to the baller. And there's a back and forth, and it might go on for 30 comments. Now, it's not somebody you're familiar with, it's not someone you know, but it's someone alleging to be a flatty, arguing with somebody alleging to be a baller, back and forth about nothing. Nothing's getting resolved. It's just a nonsense waffle. Like we moan about if we were to describe this verbally when we went into some of the servers. We're like, all they're doing is just peddling the Feast of Nonsense and not getting anywhere. There's no resolve to any of the discussions. It's just endless people listening to their own voices. We're like, is this just two people going back and forth on a comment section for 4, 5, 6, 7 endless hours? Because to me that just seems nutty, like what you're describing as bonkers, but you're pigeonholing it like it's only the people professing their love for for ballness, as opposed to I'm saying there's also a group that does the same for flatness. They're not proving anything. They're still arguing about it till the cows come home.
Yeah, you're talking about. Just to answer your question, I don't deal with that too much on my channel, because when there's anyone comes in there with any flat earther who has anything wrong to say, like if it's slightly wrong, I'm not going to jump down their throats. But if it's egregiously wrong and I know they're like bullshitting, I'll stop them in their tracks. I'll come in and say, "No, you're talking rubbish," or I'll basically tell the person, "I don't trust you, go away." But that generally doesn't happen on my channel. I'm not going to say it does. But what you're describing are purposeful enablers. That's probably how QE would describe them.
Yeah.
They're enabling a conversation to happen that doesn't really exist, because the conversation can't exist because the opposing side don't have any evidence.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So somebody posted it in one of the feeds on Teams with a clip from Duffy. And he's talking about Cube Earth or some shit. And the same principle applies. While this discussion takes place, it makes it seem like it has some value. And one side can say, "Look, this guy's a Cube Earth." I'm like, no. This is meaningless nonsense waffle. It doesn't achieve anything. Now, it's only upon recognising that the discussion itself is inconsequential. Like, there's never going to be an alteration to how Earth's been measured till now, and how it's being measured today as we speak, or how it will be measured tomorrow by any who ever measure it. This discussion is inconsequential to those two things, are very much kept separate. Therefore, us professing the flatness of Earth is meaningless. Yeah, it gets measured flat, but me telling the world that didn't change how it was being measured anyway. You see what I mean? So there's this creation of the discussion that I see in the comment section where I'm like, but for this discussion, there wouldn't be the debate. And but for the debate, we'd just be measuring Earth flat. And but for us measuring flat, which we need for heliocentrism, I might add, there'd be no problem here. It's only because when you get to the extrapolations from the flat measurements in extreme heliocentrism, orbital motion, that you have an incongruence between the measurements of Earth and the belief that they're on a freaking ball flying around the sun, which is insane. And that leads to some potty things happening, Brian. But the flatties are just as guilty. They're enabling, as you put it, the bonkers discussion that comes from the globe side when they express their bonkers nature after realising the incongruence of the flat measurements versus their ball belief.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, you have, like, some of it is just stupidity on the flat earther side. most of the flat earthers come to my channel. They're not. They're people who have watched your channel. They watch Kiwi Live. They know who we are, and they're not. They're clued in people, right? And that's, some of them may not get everything right, but they're clued in. They're learning that. Like, I mean, that they're not your average idiot. But if you have someone who's just doing like purposeful enabling, because that's what that is. Like, you have to ask yourself, why is this person here, and why are they doing what they're doing? And the whole purpose of it is to keep this thing going, turn it into a philosophical conversation, even. Whatever you need to do with tube out or whatever rubbish, whatever you need to do, just don't allow it to be seen for what it truly is. And that's what so there, like, I think you were saying it, or was it you saying it, was it QE saying it? I think it was you saying it, that there's more, these days, there's more corruption inside the flat earth than there is community, than there is within the global community. And as you're saying, people who are enabling, look at the whole TFV thing. If Wixit and Jern had never turned up for that, it would never have had the traction that it had, right? What gave it the traction was the big name supposed, not really, flat earthers turning up for it. Because Lisbeth, now we spoke about this before, like that girl Lisbeth, or whoever, this other guy this special effects guy,
She was a fella.
Was a flat earther.
Oh,
sorry.
You sentence rolled into the next. You said that, you know, Lisbeth, this fella. That's what you said.
Oh, sorry, I just came out wrong. I was talking about the Elizabeth, the girl, and then that fella who they tried to claim as a flat earther. The point is that without the enablers, right, the purposeful enablers of Jaron and Witsit, without that thing was nothing. Nobody cares whether Dave McKeegan, no offense to him, or NC Town, goes to Antarctica. They're only interested in the flat earthers. That's all the news stories are interested.
Or Jaron. They were only interested in
Flat earthers
Jaron.
looking stupid.
I don't know about the flat earthers per se. I think they were only interested in Jaron.
That's the point. Like, they're only interested in the flat earthers looking stupid. And they have the useful idiots with Jaron and Witsit. That's what they got. They had the news story, which is what they needed to pump out across the world. You know, and that's what they were looking for. Now, I still don't think they got the traction they really wanted, but they did get something. The point being is that these people, the Gerons and the Witsits, whether they be Geron or Witsit with big channels, or to be somebody in your comments who's having some BS conversation with a baller or debate with a baller about something that's not debatable, they have to be purposeful enablers. Some of them have to be getting paid, or they're all like they're the same side of the same side of they're one side of the same coin as the ballers. There's no way around that. You can't behave that way. You know, where somebody turning up on your channel and, like, you know, trying to have a big debate with a baller and just, you know, bringing in a load of nonsense that doesn't mean anything and not achieving anything, and the two of them end up, like, remember we used to say about the ball bust or the glow busters, they always end up in
neutral outcome.
Neutral outcome. Yeah.
Agree to disagree.
Exactly. Yeah, because they can't look. The world is what it is. People are going to see it for what it is. So you need to keep the conversation going, and you need to, as you said, in every 10-year cycles, 10 whatever year cycles. But you definitely don't want anyone achieving anything from our side. You don't want that. You want to keep the conversation going, so there will be people out there, because you want to catch the people who are out there going, you know, this doesn't work. If we were rotating, or if the Earth was a globe, then this would happen. They want to catch those people and add them to a group of purposeful enablers.
Yes, the pond.
And get them involved in the big discussion.
Yes, the pond. Yeah. What I call the pond.
Yes.
So when I describe Simon Dan being in the pond with us, that's the pond. Oh, you're questioning whether or not there's an incongruence between the flat Earth that we measure, like here in Ceyhan and Alexandria, and the globe that we create with these flat Earth measurements. Oh, well, then you are a fish for this pond. Go in there. Now, there's ponds. The pond itself gets separated. Obviously, there's a net, and there's the rich side and the poor side of the pond. Now, the rich side are rich. They get fed. They get lots of wealth and things chucked at them, but they don't sleep very well. Now, the poor side, they sleep exceptionally well, but they don't get fed. They have to beg. Can you guess which side we're on? I mean, no hints. If you did want to hit me up on PayPal, that'd be pucker. Yeah, struggling, really struggling. But metaphorically, there's two sides of the pond, but it's still the same pond. Yeah? To assume that just because there's a net in the pond doesn't change that we're in the same pond. You can pretend when you're on the rich side of the pond that you don't get involved with those dirty side of the pond people, like you wouldn't debate them. Yeah? But you're in the same pond with them. You can't help them. Send them tweets and stuff, tell them about reference frames being ruined. You're in the same pond. You know what I mean? But yes, I love your analogy, Brian.
Yeah, but that's exactly it, Nathan. We're all in the same pond, and this pond is refurbished every 10 years. You have it going out on TikTok at the moment, where the arguments on TikTok are slightly better now than they were a year ago. But a year ago, they were worse than what we had 10 years ago. Do you mean they were terrible? And it's just what they keep doing is they keep catching people who will notice things about the earth and bring them in to, like, literally give them a certain amount of information. Excuse me. So they definitely do become flat earthers. And then suddenly a part of a pond they're not aware of being a part of. And the whole purpose of that is to keep flat earth, the topic of flat earth, as a conspiracy. You know, one of these things that turns up every 10 years. Like that, yeah, people still believe it. You know, the people still believe that. You know this statement? It's like, instead of no, we have measurements. We know knowledge. We know. You know, we understand. You know, they don't want, that's why they definitely don't want whatever is been brought out on this channel, on QE channel, on my channel, and maybe a few other channels. They don't want people coming across that.
Yeah, well, that's why they're heavily coming against it.
Well, they need rhetoric for everyone,
they weren't expecting this.
You got to remember, Neil, that there's people who come across the rhetoric from a different perspective as us, right? We've come across it and braced against it, obviously, right? But there are people who come across this same pond, right, that are all for it being a ball, in line with the rhetoric of the Western world, right? The church's rhetoric of us being on a ball going around the sun. They're all for it, but they're still going to be incongruent with a measurement of a flat earth, and they need rhetoric too. They need to be given some pain relief. They need to be told how to sleep at night when the square needs circling. And in this case, they get a rhetoric of, well, it's because it's really big. Yeah? Therefore, yes, you're discovering that we deal with Earth locally and measure Earth locally flat. I understand that you're, you know, now in dissonance. You cognitively want to square that circle, like I just said. So it's because, don't worry, we figured this out for you. Yeah? Let's put my arm around you. It's a really, really, really big ball. That's why we're measuring it flat. So you're all good too. So everyone needs rhetoric in this pond that we're all in together. Now, some of them will go, oh, right, gobble, 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 gobble. Thank you. So you figured this out for me? We measure it flat because we're on a really, really, really big ball? Oh, brilliant, thank you. I'm going to go and shout at that other fish over there about how stupid he is. Oi, fish! Idiot! It's a really big ball, you dumbass! Ha 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 ha!
That was actually done on one of the videos I think Liam posted. I mean, the guy was talking nonsense about 1,000-year reigns and talking about the movement and the full moon and all of this other stuff. But in there, he did speak about celestial navigation. And the guy agreed. He said, well, yeah, because the Earth is so big. We have to do it with planar trigonometry or planar geometry, whatever he said. So he admitted it, but he also said it was so big that it's easier to do it that way.
Yeah, but that's an old thing. Like throwing in like planar this and planar that and saying it's easier to do it that way. I was only something I came across recently, Nathan, that I'd forgotten about. Do you remember that the rebuttal for why pilots train on software that treats the Earth as flat and stationary was because it's easier to program it that way?
I remember that.
They're supposed to be up in airplanes flying over a rotating globe, and they're learning to fly over a stationary plane in the software because it's easier that way. Right, for the people writing the software, it's like, give me a break.
That's
You know what I mean? So that's
give me a
the-
break
You a
because
flat earth for that.
it's not that it's
Yeah.
easier, it's that it's axiomatically impossible to do it any other way. Like I described at the beginning of this show, we've come full circle. Axiomatically, if you're going to describe parallel flight level with respect to a surface level, exactly as it's being measured in the black boxes, that's how Earth gets dealt with. So when you're training the pilots, it's not that it's a programming ease for a flatness. No, you're dealing with parallel flight level and surface level. And if it's anything other than that, then you're going to have to account for it, measure for it, and you don't. You just deal with Earth flat. So, yeah, saying it's easier is just, again, an apology for us measuring Earth flat. But with that, I'm going to say if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering streams, then stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, though, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. So another massive thank you to all of you who liked, commented, shared, subscribed. Hit me up on hopefully PayPal, as it's tough times, definitely tough times on this side of the pond. Very tough. Those fish, they're getting all the fish food. Anyway, I'll say another massive thank you to Discord and G+ panels. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.